Hi, this is Jamison Tilsner. I'm here with Katy Chevigny of ArtsEngine and Media That Matters Film Festival. Hi, Katy.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Tell me about ArtsEngine.
Okay, ArtsEngine is an organization that I co-founded about 10 years ago. It's a nonprofit organization that does a number of different activities around documentary film and trying to get the word out about documentary film and enhance their impact and their audience. And one of the things we do at ArtsEngine is the Media That Matters Film Festival.
And you said the film festival is inspired at least somewhat by IP as a medium or as a distribution platform.
Yes, I mean, it's inspired by the possibility of what we thought the web could do for documentary films. This year is our 8th annual Media That Matters Film Festival. It's launching May 29th. And so that means that our first festival was 2001, which you may recall was the very early days of video on the internet. It was kind of the early days of the internet in terms of people trying to figure out, like, how is this going to be a means of connecting people? Because there was still a really big digital divide. You know, a lot of people use the internet a lot, and a lot of people didn't use it at all. Right. And certainly a lot of people didn't have high bandwidth. So we actually decided, we sort of built the Media That Matters Film Festival around the capacities of the web in 2001 and the promise of it. So we picked short films. At the time we said only 8 minutes and under, because we somewhat arbitrarily decided that was kind of the amount of time that most people could handle streaming. And a lot of people were still using dial-up then to watch video, if you could imagine. And so we curated, we had a jury pick a set of films that to show online with the idea of saying, okay, this is going to be like a proof of concept of how social issue video can stream online and it can help people make a bigger impact about the issues they care about. Yeah, one of the things that the festival's become over the years that now we try to talk about is that it's a multi-platform festival. A lot of festivals are just one thing, like they're just theatrical, or some of them are just online. So the main way most people see the films is online, because they're online, you know, all year, 24/7, etc. And then we also do we have a theatrical premiere in New York next Wednesday, the 28th. We show them in theaters around the country. We have what we call the Traveling Film Festival, which is theater screenings, community screenings, school screenings, that starts up right after the festival launches. And then we also create a DVD of the films, which, you know, we create a DVD of the films, which is an additional way that people can watch them. And what was interesting with that is, so when we first launched the festival in 2001, it was really like, yay, the internet's going to like be the new form. You know, people aren't going to need that videogram, as they call it, in contracts, you know. Right. And we learned quickly that, like, we're not there yet where people just use the internet. We certainly weren't there in 2001. We're not there now.
Far.
Yeah. So we kind of were naive about that. And what we learned right away is once we got some traction with the festival by the second year even, as soon as the festival launched, people would call up and say, where can I buy the DVD? Or where can I get a VHS? And we were like, well, no, you just watch it online. And people were like, yeah, but I want the DVD. You know, there just was still that desire for it, especially if you're showing it to a group of people. So we said, all right. So we responded to that, and now we create a DVD version of it that there's a big demand for, which is kind of interesting. Like, you'd think they're free on the internet. Why would somebody want to buy the DVD? But there's certain circumstances where you really need a DVD.
What is Media That Matters? What are you aiming to achieve?
Yeah, that phrase, Media That Matters. Well, what we're trying to distinguish with saying that is that there's a lot of media out there, a lot of video online that's just kind of got a whatever quality to it. And so when we're saying Media That Matters, we're not saying the films have to be done in a particular style or have a particular approach, but they have to come from the heart, from somebody who really is talking about something that they think really matters. And we take that really broadly, but generally they're about social issues, things of concern to the public at large. A lot of them are international issues. So they don't necessarily have to be like a film making an argument or an advocacy film, but they have to be something that the filmmaker cares deeply about, and that's why they're telling this story. That's what we mean by Media That Matters.
Interesting. We've been talking a bit about democratized media and how that affects communities, particularly in like developing countries. Do you have any, does this particular subject relate to what you're doing?
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things about the short form of video. One is that there's low barriers to it. So people who don't have a lot of money can make films. people who don't have a lot of money can make short films. Young people can make short films. When you get into like the long form documentary film or the fiction film, there's only certain people who have the resources to make those sorts of films.
Right.
So with short films, once we opened the submissions to anybody, we started getting lots of submissions from young people, a lot of submissions from teenagers, a lot of international submissions, and a lot of people doing sort of that democratic type, there's all those phrases for it, user-generated content, which is not my favorite phrase. But I'm almost like, who's the user and what did they generate, But there's certainly a lot of films. We're getting a lot of international submissions now, which in many cases is somebody in a foreign country wanting to tell a story about their community, filming it, cutting it into something short, and sticking it in the mail or going online and sending it to us.
Let's talk about some of this year's winners.
There's always, we have a staff here who work on the festival, and we all have our favorites, and there's a great variety among our favorites. I mean, one of the things I really like about the festival is that it's so eclectic, and there's different things for different people. Some of them are funny, some of them are serious, some of them are high-end, some of them are low-end, etc. One of the films that I really love this year, because it's pretty different, is A Nomad's Life, which I think it's really beautiful to look at, and it's basically a portrait of some farmers in the Tibetan plateau, and it's in Tibetan. It's got subtitles. It's just sort of a slice of life, and so it's not like sort of a typical what some people think about a social issue documentary. It's not in like the Michael Moore vein or something like that, but it does talk about a way of life that's slowly disappearing. Right. And so it was interesting, that we chose that film and that the jury chose that film. Another one of the things when we first started the festival that we wanted to do was connect watching films online with taking action in your communities and trying to make a difference. And so part of what we were using the internet for was to say to people, this is what's even cooler about watching films on the internet than watching them in other settings. Because, if you go to a theater and you watch a film, maybe you feel like you want to do something, you go home, you go to bed, maybe the next day you don't, you forget about it.
Poised for action.
And so we have this, kind of philosophy that what video is most effective at is like engaging you emotionally, and particularly if it's about some particular social issue, you may immediately after the film be kind of moved to do something. And thanks to the internet and its connectivity, we have take action links that we put right under the film. So after you screen it, you can get more information about sort of the larger context that film takes place in, and in addition, get involved in particular causes that might be related to that. So, for example, with the Tibetan film, the take action links, you can learn more about a Tibetan photography project that's done by Tibetans to Tibetan photographers showing their work to the rest of the world. And you can also get involved in trying to save the ecological... You can also get involved in a group that's trying to save the Kham Plateau in Tibet. So those are just examples of like how it's different from a film festival
interactive.
Offline. Yeah, and it's also linking the ideas of making a difference and taking action in your communities to watching a film.
We can find it all at
mediathatmattersfest.org.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. No, I think that's it. I mean, we're really excited about the films this year. We think they're really great.